Hello, this is Nicholas Price. I'll be discussing the research question, how have glacial processes, and human interaction shaped the Jungfrau region to its present form? Now, we'll be discussing a series of topics. First, we'll go to glacial processes, then glacial landforms, human interaction, and lastly, conclusion and bibliography. Okay, so as said, we'll start with glacial processes. Now, in order for a glacier to be formed or grow, the net accumulation must exceed the net ablation in a set period of time. So, in other words, the glacier split up into three parts. There's the top, which is where all the snow accumulates, the middle, and then the bottom, where the zone of ablation, where the glacier melts and it turns into glacial water. Now, because of gravity, the glacier moves downhill, and of course, the snow in the zone of ablation will keep replacing the snow that moves down, and this is how a glacier moves. Now, the conversion process of snow to glacial ice is very long. It can take up to 10 years, but over time, in the first years or two, the snowflakes will start turning into ice and compressed snow, where the air will be pressed out of, and then slowly and slowly, as the pressure continues, they turn into ice and can, after 10 years, feel like solid rock. Now, moving on to weathering and erosion. Freeze-thaw weathering, which is a cause of many features in glaciers, happens over time. At first, the water will fill small cracks, as seen in the diagram. Then the water freezes, and it will force a crack open. And this process is repeated until the crack is very wide. And these cracks are then called crevasses or bergschrunds. Now, talking more about weathering and erosion, a common sign of erosion is plucking. This is when rocks are picked up or plucked by the glacier, rocks that have been loosened by freeze-thaw weathering and other types of erosion, and they are then picked up, and then they scrape it across the ground, wearing it away at the bedrock, and this process is called abrasion. Now, as you can see here in the diagram, the rock is sliding across the bedrock, forced by the forward movement of the glacier, and wearing away the bedrock underneath it. Now, next we come to transport. A common site of transport are chatter marks and, of course, roches montagnes. Chatter marks are marks created by abrasion when little pieces of rocks are chipped off of the bedrock underneath the glacier. Roches montagnes, as seen in the slide before, are created when a large part of the bedrock is split off, creating elongated circular mound. Next, we move on to deposition. Dropped rocks, also known as erratics, which are carried by the glacier, and then when the glacier reaches the ablation zone, or the part of the glacier that carries the rocks, it will drop the rocks, and they will seem very out of place, out of the natural environment, because they've been carried all the way down a couple of kilometers with the glacier. Now, moving on to landforms. Common sign of glacial erosion are arêtes. Arêtes are created when the Corey Lakes or corries appear on two sides of a mountain. This will erode away, creating a sharp knife-edged ridge. Another common sign of erosion are pyramidal peaks. This is when three or more corries are on a side, creating a sort of pyramid-looking peak. Lastly, the truncated spurs are also a sign of glacial erosion. They are similar to a hanging valley, but the glacier has worn away the edges and created a sharp ending to the spurs. Next, for glacial deposition. A common sign of glacial deposition are moraines. There's many different types of moraines, such as lateral moraines, medial moraines, ground moraines, terminal moraines, and recessional moraines. Now, moraines are created when sediment is dropped by the glacier. For example, terminal moraine is the outwardmost moraine, the farthest the glacier has gone and dropped its sediment. And recessional moraines are always parallel to the terminal moraine and show the recession or decline or receding glacier. Now, another sign of glacial deposition are drumlins. Drumlins are elongated mounds of till and sediments dropped by the glacier, and they are often that give way of which way the glacier is moving. Now, lastly, we come to human interaction. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans have been using the Alps for their survival. For example, the wretch sediments and till that's been dropped off by the glacier has been used for grazing, for livestock, and also farming. A large export of mountainous of countries with mountainous regions is lumber. Lastly, to wrap it up, I would like to show a then and now picture of the Lech Glacier. The first one taken in 1900 and the second one, more recent one, in 2004. And as you can see, the glacier has receded quite a bit. And yeah, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.